Hello! It is December 6, 2021. Happy anniversary to my lovely wife. I am Richard Dort, your host here at ESBK Studios, and this is your weekly news. Quickly, so what do we got? What are we got in store week? Let's see, we've got zero pay scheme, zero pay to play scheme. I gotta toggle back in time and talk about a Ducati interview with Ducati about Moto E. We got some articles out of Ride Apart. We got a bunch of news out of LinkedIn, and let's see here, and then Wawas of the week. Wawas of the week. After this.
And look into my eyes, I hide behind the face's mask of self-inflicted lies. I tell myself it isn't real, but even though I try, I see the stranger looking back, so who the hell am I?
Alright, now I do want to warn you, if you get advertisements during this video, it's not because I have enough subscribers and enough hours of viewage to get monetization. No. The theme song that I am using has been pinged by YouTube, and I really like it, and I need to figure out how to own it, or not own it, but get rights to it, so I can use it. So I did pay for the song, so I do own it, but I don't have rights to broadcast it, obviously. So I need to work on that. First things first up, Richard 230, the nice man on the electric motorcycle forums on the interwebs. I find his who he chooses to consider journalists and sources to be both interesting and insightful. So I tend to use him as my standard. This place is a good journalistic source. This place is not. Anyway, he posted an article on RevZilla where they go in to talk about Zero's pay to play. It's a very well written article. I will have the link up on my blog post on ttxgpmatters.wordpress.com. I'll have a link there, but you can just go to RevZilla and search their articles for the Zero Pay to Play article. What they do is they go in and they say, look, this is a controversy, but they say Zero's not the first one to do this, but Zero is by far the first one to go this deep into it. They also said at the end of the article, Zero has been labeled or titled the Tesla of electric motorcycles ad nauseum. Yes, I don't find Zero to be the Tesla of electric motorcycles at all. Never have. I don't think I ever will, maybe because I'm too much of a stick in the mud at this point. But in this case, they are following that pay to play where the vehicles are being built with the equipment. You have to pay to have them turned on. This is not unique in the motorcycle industry. They give very specific examples. Harley-Davidson Indian, a KTM. So it was an Indian, Harley-Davidson Indian was turning on the GPS navigation. KTM was a quick shifter plus feature where all the equipment was there. You get a little bit better functionality if you pay a little bit extra, apparently. They gave one or two other examples. They see both sides. They have a little paragraph about, what if you hate this? Yes, you are right. It is okay. You are not alone to hate this because of this, this, and this. What if you love this? You are not alone to love this if you love this. And here's the reasons why, blah, blah, blah. And what they point out is it's a flip on the head. We're used to buying the base something, and if we want all of it, we have to pay and have it added on, or we have to pay all up front and buy the highest thing. And as we've seen time and time again, electric motorcycles, everyone buys the most expensive version of stuff. Electric motorcycles, and electric cars. Look when Bramo first came out. They had a 10, an 8, and a 6, I think. And no one pre-ordered, or very, very few people pre-ordered the $8,000 6. It was all the more expensive, or I don't know what the price was. It was all the much more expensive ones they ordered. They ordered the top 2. And eventually Bramble just made the biggest pack. Same thing happened to Tesla. They offered 3 levels of battery pack. Only a couple people ordered the small one, and they had to, like, basically it was the middle-sized pack, electronically limited. What else? They they're limiting Tesla in that manner. So they're not alone in the industry, but they are by far, this is the biggest leap they've seen in the motorcycle industry, and Revzilla doesn't think that this is going away. They think this is only more to come. Well, back to the point. So we're used to a building up. This is you get everything and then you have to pay to unlock it scheme. So it's like sell you the biggest thing for the lower price, and then you have to pay extra to unlock it. So it's just a reverse of how we're used to doing things. Maybe I just need a mindset change, but I don't know. In related news, no, that's on the Wawas. All right, at the end. ESBK.it, I believe, the Italian website that covers Moto E. So they interviewed, and I don't remember the man's name, but one of the big wigs out of Ducati about Moto E. And I was pretty much right in my assumptions, but I didn't know some other things. Obviously some things I didn't think of, which, duh. So anyway, again, it's a lot about safety, and I don't get the feeling that at all that Energica was booted out. I just feel like with the new company that owns them, they're looking at how much it took to make all that happen, and they're like, it's just not worth it. We've got all the dealerships. We've got all over the world. We've got people demanding our bikes faster than we can make them. We need to worry about making motorcycles for a while before we get back into racing. Again, Ducati's the natural, and they admitted they were talking to VW, they were talking to Audi, they were talking to Porsche about the battery technology, because they all share the battery technology. The Audi e-tron and the Porsche Taycan are built on the same platform. I'm interested if they were talking to Rimac Bugatti, because that's the battery tech you want. Fingers crossed for us race fans that's where they're going to go with that. Then what else? Yeah, anyway, so sorry, they talked about that. Nice big for the radio fans, the podcast listeners. So anywho, yeah, they talked about all that. I was correct. They were talking about how they feel they have the ability to get the weight down more so than Energica could. And they were very gracious in saying, look, we're not poo-pooing Energica at all here. This is not, what they did was amazing and no one else had done it. But we have years and years in World Superbike and MotoGP that we feel we can get the bike lighter. The other trick in the bag, and it's really about safety. MotoGP, I think if Energica in any kind of way was pushed out, it would have been because of safety. They want the bikes lighter, not for a better show, but for safety. They want the bikes safer. And Ducati said, like, here's one thing that I never put together that is blatantly obvious now you hear about it: traction control. Energica, I feel, and I've seen the bikes, I mean, those things were Broncos. I've seen some racing. I've watched the first 2 seasons of racing. They would buck people to and fro, and if caught wrong. And I think Energica may have struggled with the traction control system, whereas Ducati has, at this point, probably thousands of hours of data of riders, multiple riders, dozens of riders on these bikes and their inputs, high-level riders, top-level riders, top in the world level riders. And so they've got those inputs, they've got their traction control dialed. They know what the rider wants to feel as far as how much slide and how much spin, and they know how to adjust that to dial in for each particular rider. So they've got all that experience, all that software already written. So they feel that it's going to be a very quick process to adapt their traction control system to their new electric motorcycle when it comes out next year. And I think I have no reason to doubt that. Again, it's not putting Energica down at all, but that's playing to Ducati's strengths and research and R&D, and they've just put in the work. They've been able to put in the work and the man hours. These guys got so many more people, so many more hours, so many more dollars behind it already. They've got a better developed traction control system, simply put. So that's also going to make those bikes a lot. So even if they aren't lighter, they're still going to be safer. And the riders are going to get the more fine-tuned granular control that they want. So I actually think that's going to be a bigger deal than if they get them lighter. I will be surprised if Ducati, I won't be shocked, but I will be surprised if Ducati's bikes are a lot lighter. I don't think they will be. I think they might be marginally lighter. But I think that traction control system is going to make all the difference. So keep your eye out for that going forward. Ride Apart had 2 articles. One is, they're both barely articles worth mentioning, but there's this German firm called Vitseco, I guess, the Vitseco, I don't know how to do it in German accent, Technologies. They took a Husqvarna, Vitplin, I don't know, Vitpillen 401, there we go. And they added a 48 volt hybrid system to it. They put a 15 kilowatt or 20 horsepower electric motor in there, and they're developing that system. So they bought their own Husqvarna. I don't know in the article does it suggest they're working with Husqvarna, but they are developing a hybrid system, I guess, in hopes of marketing it and selling it to companies. So Kawasaki, you might have some competition, but I don't think so, not yet. And then there's new electric lineup. The only thing that I care about, I don't care about the scooters, there's a motorcycle-ish almost looking thing, and they claim it's the electric motorcycle you've been waiting for. Okay, top speed is 62 miles an hour running on a 72 volt architecture. No, not the motorcycle I've been waiting for at all. No, not even kinda. Try again. Don't sell me. I am at the point that I'm like, if it's 72 volt, it's not a motorcycle, it's a moped. It's a fast moped, but it's a moped. That's not a motorcycle. To me. What are your opinions? But that's, to me, no. So those are the 2 things out of Ride Apart. LinkedIn. There's a lot of good stuff on LinkedIn. What do we got here? We've got Electrify America has announced that they have installed on-site behind-the-meter battery energy storage systems at over 140 DC fast charging stations around the country here in the US, including more than 90 installations in California alone. They would have to do that. The charge rates in California have got to be through the freaking roof. So what this does is it allows them to pull fat quickly, allows them to pull electricity. Maybe, I mean, here's an example. Kyle at Out of Spec did a story on a DC fast charging station in Colorado, and you can pull 37 kilowatts off the power grid. If you go over 37 kilowatts, you get upcharged a lot for pulling too much power. I can't remember what the fee's called, but it's a fee, right? For pulling extra. So they're able to pull the minimum, they're able to pull up to that limit out of the actual grid while feeding the rest out of the battery packs. And that will save them a lot of money and actually make it so they can make money. All right, not enough to actually pay off the charging station, but enough to like not be in the hole with the electric company. So that's actually a huge deal, a very huge deal. I have no idea if these will work when the power goes out or not, but that would be cool, but probably not. There's probably some reason why not. Anyway, so there's that. I mentioned last week that Energica had expanded the U.S. Dealership network. I didn't give you numbers. They had added 6 new dealerships for a total of 20 dealerships here in the U.S. So congratulations to those folks. And I have a feeling there's going to be more to come if that new parent company has anything to say about it. Zero. I keep seeing these Zero ads. This bothers me, as pretty much all Zero marketing bugs the daylights out of me. Zero, ride further on demand. Ride farther, sorry, on demand. Once, you pay for it once. That makes you think like, man, I'm out on a ride, all of a sudden I gotta get home and I don't quite have enough. I can just get on my phone and pay for a little bit extra. It's not like you can lease the extra. The energies, no. Zero, no. Stop it. It's just making people matter. How do you not see that? Yeah, that's it for LinkedIn. It's a short week. I recorded this, I think, Tuesday of last week. So, yeah, it's a little bit less. I did not get it posted till later in the week. My sincere apologies. ESBK studio projects in the future. So, there's not going to be just motorcycle content on here. Electric motorcycle content on here. There'll be I own an electric car and a hybrid SUV, one of the old GM ones, old Escalade hybrid, from 2012. Yeah, the last 2013 is when they stopped making them. So there'll be some content on here about that. I have 2 projects apart from just trying to be a husband and a dad, and trying to keep this garage in some sort of organization, which I kind of get there and then fail, as I'm sure many of you understand. But anyway, I've got my old 1986 500 Interceptor, which has yet to run, has California emission stuff on it, and I had just put in the carburetors a little while ago, so I have to yank the carbs back off, pull the jets, pull off all the and put in lower 48 jets, and yank off all the emissions junk, or get some slip-ons for it, get an aftermarket jet kit and install that instead. So there's that. That'll probably won't happen until this summer, although I would like to pull all the emissions junk and the carbs this Christmas break coming up. But I've got a Christmas concert with my kiddos first, so we got that. The other thing is our hybrid. My wife and I love our Chevy Bolt to death. Not afraid of it catching on fire. It's a 2020. Really, I'm not afraid. But I can't wait to get my new battery pack. That's pretty cool. We got over 25,000 miles on it already. But we really want. She now works. Well, she always did, but she was a bus driver and she was driving less than 8 miles one way to work, but she was doing it twice a day. Well, now she's a teacher, and she's only doing it once a day instead of back and forth twice. So her commute is now less than 14 miles, or just right about 14 miles. And we want her to be able to drive on all electric there and back. Well, that tiny 1.9 kilowatt hour battery pack that only lets you output at most like 35 kilowatts is not cutting it. You can't. I haven't got the thing if you really creep up so gently, like driving total granny mode, and just get it to slowly accelerate. I don't think you get much up over 30. Maybe 29, or maybe it's 39. You don't get up that high before the gas motor kicks in. So there's no driving to work and back. We really are looking at the market. There's no plug-in SUVs. There's one coming, the Cherokee L. That could tow our camper, but barely. The suspension on those SUVs, those hybrid SUVs, was beefed up, so I'm not. And the timing was derated because of cooling issues, not because of any other reason. So I don't worry about bumping up against the tow limit. But if I was going to get a brand new truck, I would worry about bumping up against the tow limit. We've only got a 23-foot camper. It's 5,000 pounds dry. But you start putting bikes and kids' clothes and your clothes and water and milk and all that stuff, all those supplies in, and all of a sudden the weight goes up. Much less putting some water in there for on the road. So There's nothing on the market. The Rivians, I figure we need a 260 kilowatt hour pack in a truck or SUV before. We would prefer a three-row SUV for towing the camper. You need at least 260 kilowatt hours to make it fun, to replicate what we just did this summer, because we'd only drive for 200 miles before we pull over and fill it for tank of gas. Now we could top the tank off, but my wife starts getting really nervous once it gets down. She'll tell me it's below a quarter of a tank and it's above a quarter of a tank, but anywhere around a quarter of a tank she gets really, really nervous. So we always had to pull over right about then. So we'd only be driving for a little over 3 hours, 200 miles, and then we pull over and we end up stopping for an hour and a half anyway. You know, getting this, getting that, stretching, whatever. So to replicate that in an electric vehicle, you need one with a 260 kilowatt hour pack, and that's just not. I mean, the biggest one coming out will be the 200 kilowatt hour pack in the Hummer, which is getting delivered soon. Deliveries start in December. I mean, I'm sure it'll be just like the Mustang Mach-E. 6 people got cars on the last week of December, but you know, whatever. It means January there's going to be 30 or 50 delivered, you know. And then February there'll be 200 delivered, or you know how that goes. So there's no plug-in hybrids. We basically want it to function like a plug-in hybrid. So step 1, phase 1, will be a new battery pack. What I want to do is I want to get a used old battery pack, gut it, and fill it full of lithium iron phosphate cells, and get it all wired up, BMS, heat, whatever, wired into the harness, synced up, ready to go. And then they're not that bad. You can swap them out. They're not too bad from what I've seen. Haven't done it yet, but from what I've seen, they're not too bad. So swap them. That'll be a slow project, but a wife-approved project. So that's phase 1 in the Escalade project, and there's more I want to do after that. But let's get a new battery pack in there, and see how the truck reacts to a newer battery pack. So it is EV related news. It is not electric motorcycle related news. I do apologize if that puts you off at all, but they will be separate videos, so you can choose to not watch them. I don't think I'll do them as a podcast. I think I'll only do them as YouTube video. Try to bring in some YouTube traffic that way, you know, for people. I'm thinking about doing just some driving, and then driving while towing, recording that so people can see how they work, because no one knows. No one paid attention when they came out. And there are people looking at buy and used, and I feel like if I had some proper videos describing how the thing works, I'd had better expectations. Not that we've been disappointed in any way. We were disappointed in how soon the gas engine will kick on, and how hard it is to get any range out of it on pure battery. But otherwise than that, Wawas of the week. Wawas of the week. Oh, I don't have this guy's name, but there's a guy who's a Tesla stan. He makes videos. He's got Patreon supporters, and he's the guy that's insisting that Lucid is a scam, and he's got other people believing that it is. His chucklehead. He quoted. I watched his video, and I was like, okay. He's claiming that Lucid's a scam because Tom Malogny in his video put 134 kilowatt hours of charging. They was charged 134 kilowatt hours of charging to charge the Lucid Air, and that when Motor Trend charged their Tesla, it was 99% efficient. So it can't be. The amount gone into the car, they determined that Tesla DC fast charging, or he determined from that article, the DC fast charging was 99% efficient. And so, if DC fast charging 99% efficient, then Lucid is lying about the size of the battery pack, and they're lying about how efficient they are. They can't lie about how far the car goes, and the car just simply goes a lot further than any Tesla. That was my takeaway from it. And I didn't know about the efficiency, but I followed Tom Malogny for a while now, and I know he's been a blogger and or journalist in the EV space for a decade at least. So, like, he had said that normally he sees about 10% efficiency losses. 9 to 11% seems to be the numbers that they keep saying when they go back and crunch them. So I was like, okay, and then this guy's saying it's 99% efficient. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not as efficient, but who cares? It still goes way further. It doesn't change the price or anything like that. It's just bragging rights about efficiency. So, like, why would that be of any concern? Well, then I watched the next week's Inside EVs, and it turns out that Motor Trend article that guy quoted and based his whole premise on, the charging stations, Tesla chargers don't have screens on them. They don't tell you how much electricity they've used to put into your car. They just tell you how much is in your car and how much they're charging you for that. So, like, it's complete nonsense. You can't base your argument on what the car says. My car tells me how much, my Bolt tells me how much I get, and it doesn't, well, actually usually kind of does match up by coincidence. It matches up with the charging station, but Electrify America charges you for electricity coming into the charger. There are inefficiencies built into the charger, and then there's inefficiencies going from the charger to the car. And so in the Lucid, because it's charging, I have a feeling because it's charging at 304 kilowatts, and we haven't seen a car charge that fast, we don't know how efficient those EA charging stations are at 350 kilowatts. Okay? So because it's charging that fast, and probably built into the car, it was super inefficient. But it's just like, even my Bolt, we don't know, no one's ever said, it looks like they use the whole pack, or pretty much all the whole pack, or whatever. But generally what happens is it lines up that I've never really, the car doesn't tell me how many kilowatts it just got, so I've never really worried about that. But it turns out a lot of cars, their inefficiency, so say they have a buffer, a 10% buffer, let's just say. It turns out that not usually, but sometimes, or maybe not oftentimes, the inefficiency of the efficiency losses percentage-wise match the buffer. So you lose as much electricity in the charging process as is your buffer. So it just happens to work out that if you have a 99 kilowatt pack and your car can only use 87 or 88, it turns out the charger says 99 and you have a 99 kilowatt pack, right? But your car only got 88 because that's all it can take, but the extra was inefficiencies being lost. It just happens to coincide. Anyway, neither here nor there. People are apparently ripping Tom a new one, and the whole premise of this whole thing was hilarious. Is that the guy didn't pay attention to how the data was collected, or think about how the data was collected in that Motor Trend article he decided to quote to prove that DC fast charging is 99% efficient, which it is not even close. So it's this really stop being stupid. This guy needs to be thrown off YouTube. That's my feeling as a consumer of YouTube. Chuck him. Yeah. So yeah, that guy looks like a moron now. If this upsets you, I've not described it really as passionately as some. If this upsets you, find the video, give it a thumbs down, and report it as inaccurate information. Enough people do that, he'll have to fix his error of his ways, or just get really mad. I don't know which. Rivian shows. Oh, here we go. Here's another wah. So Kyle out of Spec Motoring organized this big EV event for YouTubers to get into all these different EVs and drive them. Here's the key part: to drive them and get in the interiors and do reviews of them and compare cars and do co-mingling things. What is that when you get together another YouTube collaboration? Yes, and do collabs together and all that cool stuff, right? All that cool YouTuber, auto industry, EV, vlogger stuff. Rivian shows up, and as far as I can tell, E4Electric posted this on Instagram. They had security on either side of the Rivian, and no one was allowed to get in it. Rivian, you show up and you play right, or you don't show up at all. It's just ridiculous. Don't say you're going to show up just to be a static model that no one can actually sit in the car. You can sit in them everywhere else. I've not seen a place yet where people can't sit in the trucks. So, no. If you're going to play right, show up. But if you're not going to play like that, don't show up. Don't tell people you're going to show up and get their hopes up and be ridiculous about it. Just knock it off. New Zero Land, ripping Zero a new one. He posted this video probably 2 weeks ago where he finally takes a crack at the pay-for-play scheme, the Cypher 3 Plus scheme on the Zeros. And he starts off, and by the end, he's just like, this is a complete bamboozle, rip-off. He's mad. My argument is he's getting to where I am now, and I've been here for years. I want to know what he thought Zero was when he joined, because I don't think it was what he thought it was when he joined. And just time is opening his eyes. I have a real yin and yang with that. I have real cognitive dissonance because I do like I think I respect all the people that build those Zeros. Definitely respect the people that build them and design them. But this marketing, it's just too much. It's too this close to lying. It's just too much. And also, it has been 3,258 days since my whole 500 interceptor has run. I hope you enjoyed this week. I'm trying to get it better and better and smoother and slicker. Every week will be a little bit better. Please stick with me. Please share. Please subscribe. And you can subscribe. Don't forget, you can also, if you prefer to listen to me on your way to work, which is just as good, please check out your favorite podcast app. And if I'm not on there, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm at TTXGPFan on Twitter. And hit me up on email, richard@esbk.co. And hit me up here in the comments on YouTube. Otherwise than that, have a great week and keep the rubber side down. See ya.